We're breaking down yet another Lydia the Bard villainess. If you haven't seen the original, it will be linked in the description. Do check it out, it's really good. You know what's interesting about villain songs? They're about the villains, but they're usually not actually about the villains. I will now give all of you a second to revel in the majesty of what I just said. Okay, but on a more serious note, villain songs tend to stand out for a bunch of reasons. For the sake of this video, I want to talk about the fact that, by nature, they're never really just about the villain. They tend to be about either the hero or the villain's victims. And sometimes, that's the same person. And watching Lydia the Bard's villainess songs gets really interesting when you keep that in mind, as making a heroine into a villain often flips perspectives and positions. Take the Tinkerbell songs I've already looked at. Hook was almost entirely removed from the story while Peter retained his role as the hero. Or the Tiana song I'm probably gonna cover at a later date, where every major character was removed and Lottie was reacting to Tiana's actions. I Only Paint in Red Now stands out in this context because the hero of the story doesn't change. She's just also the villain. We're all at least vaguely familiar with the story of Alice in Wonderland. A little girl gets trapped in a mad land that works on its own logic and tries to find her way home without losing her head. And in this song, Lydia turns up the temperature as Alice not only fails to get out of Wonderland, she becomes part of it. So let's dive into the story of how a mad land made a mad girl who made the world a little madder, and the secret meaning that I believe is hidden within it. As always, the art is on point. I mean, look at how unsettling the introduction is as Alice is welcomed into Wonderland as its newest member. And then there are the lyrics. As the song gets going, we're immediately shown the frustration of being in Wonderland. No one can help her, if they're even capable of helping her. They just give her riddles, and in the case of the Queen of Hearts, she gets threatened. Now, the Queen of Hearts is interesting depending on how deep into Alice in Wonderland lore you want to get. She's often conflated with the Red Queen in the sequel and used as more of the ultimate villain, even though she's really just yet another obstacle Alice has to overcome. In the original book, many of the executions she kept calling for evidently didn't even happen because her husband, the King of Hearts, kept pardoning people. In that context, Alice isn't really replacing her, and she just becomes part of the buildup of stress you can see in Alice. Lydia's voice also does a great job in preparing us for the contrast from the innocent way she refers to herself as lost to the deeper display of her frustration. Just listen.
A lost girl inside a maze. She asks for help but receives riddles, receives threats.
The core of this story is that after being exposed to Wonderland for too long, Alice's mind fractures into two. The normal Alice, still trying to find her way home, and Wonderland Alice, who is embracing the madness. She will be referred to as Wonder Alice from now on for the sake of ease. The whole thing is from Alice's point of view, which makes what we're seeing kind of trippy. Like, it looks like Alice stumbles upon someone else killing the white rabbit, but then we see that that someone else is Wonder Alice, who tells her that she's one of them now. An interesting turn of phrase, because Wonder Alice is already identifying herself as part of Wonderland and is talking to Alice like she's a stranger who is now going to be one of them. A sign of the extent of the dissociation? Or maybe just a personification of Wonderland's infection. Alice runs, of course, and Wonder Alice just skips after her. No rush needed. It's not like Alice can actually leave her behind. As Alice stumbles upon the Mad Hatter and the March Hare at their tea party, I feel the need to take a step back to examine Wonder Alice's powers here. The Alice in Wonderland stories are heavily implied to be dreams. Alice wakes up by the end of whatever mad adventure her subconscious puts her through. So when Wonder Alice shows that she can corrupt the fantastical residents of Wonderland and make them even more twisted, it makes sense as Alice's mad side being able to control her dreams. But it also builds on the existential dread of what's happening because, essentially, Alice's subconscious mind is infecting her conscious mind, making it match her in being twisted. What I think is really happening is that Wonderland is being filtered through Alice's relatively normal mind, but as Wonder Alice creeps closer, she's starting to get a more insane look at the residents. In this context, Wonder Alice is Alice's subconscious refusing to be suppressed any longer. That's why she has lyrics about refusing to be denied and saying that she isn't done speaking. She's tired of being kept quiet and having to conform to everything that's less insane than she is. Once again, the art and expressions are great, particularly the faces Alice and Wonder Alice make as Alice tries to physically stop her. There's so much pain you can see in these images when Wonder Alice says she won't be denied. If Alice has been frustrated with trying to understand the insanity of her own mind, you can imagine how her mind has been frustrated with reality and the norms that everyone else has to follow that don't really make sense to her. This is my thesis for what's going on in this song. Alice is mad, and she's been suppressing that, which is why Wonderland seems so foreign to her. It's a glimpse of how she really sees the world. It makes lines like, "So try as I might, I'm giving up," have a double meaning. For Alice, it could mean that she's giving up on escaping Wonderland. But for Wonder Alice, it means that she's giving up on not being who she is. She won't be following a logic that doesn't make sense to her anymore. That's why the next line is, "I'll embrace this Wonderland crown." Wonderland is the product of her mind. She doesn't need to take a crown, even if she does physically take one from the Queen of Hearts later. The crown is already hers. She just needs to embrace it. Alice is only frustrated because she hasn't embraced her place in her kingdom. Alice denies any responsibility or attachment to Wonderland, so she just sinks deeper into it. Wonder Alice, on the other hand, sings about dropping the facade. But if Wonderland already has a queen, something must be done with the pretender. When Alice wakes up, she's being threatened by the Queen of Hearts and her deck of soldiers, but they don't last long in the face of their god. And she is not a kind one. I mean, she's singing about tearing everyone apart and using them to feed her fires. And that's exactly what she does as she claims the crown of Wonderland, tearing the card soldiers apart with her many hands. Now it's Wonder Alice offering up riddles and threats, asking Alice if she's scared of her. With Wonderland subjugated, all that's left is Alice, who tries to run, remembering the life she used to live. But it's too late to go back. When Alice finally wakes up in reality, she's no longer Alice. She's Wonder Alice, with the real Alice trapped, watching from a looking glass. And I think we should take a step back from Wonderland and try to figure out exactly what's actually been happening with Alice, because I think this real world scene is the detail that really cinches my interpretation of this song. Alice's parents immediately know something's wrong, which is weird, because as far as we the audience can see, she hasn't done anything. Yet they seem concerned about something we can't see, something neither Alice nor Wonder Alice are perceiving. And yet their reaction to the magic hands and monsters we do see bursting from the mirror is practically tame, like it's not what they're actually seeing. Clearly, something has been happening in reality while Alice fights herself. Wonderland is made up of interpretations of reality, and so what we've been seeing has just been how Alice has been interpreting what's happened around her. Like, the massacre of the Queen's soldiers may have just been her messing up a deck of cards and, following her lyrics, throwing them in the fire. But when the singer pauses and you hear Alice's mom talk, that's a sign we've stepped out of her mind and into reality. But then you think back to where Wonder Alice first appeared, the death of the White Rabbit. Alice in Wonderland starts off with Alice chasing down a white rabbit and falling down a rabbit hole. The White Rabbit might be the only thing from Wonderland directly based on something she's actually seen with her eyes, even if she did imagine that it had a pocket watch. But in this song, it seems that she managed to catch the rabbit. And I'm sure we're all familiar with the trope of psycho kids killing small animals. I haven't focused on it much, but I believe there's a reason this song is called I Only Paint in Red Now. Wonder Alice's first appearance in this song is Alice realizing exactly what she did and trying to dissociate her actions. And the rest of the song, whatever Alice may have been doing in the real world, has just been the subconscious being she created telling her, no, this is you. This is us. Consider that all the carnage Wonder Alice has been causing has been her taking down things that frustrated Alice about a world that didn't make sense. All this time we thought that that world was Wonderland, but it turns out that that's not it. And as reality breaks down and Wonderland's arms reach out to turn her parents into chess pieces, bringing the mad world that exists in her subconscious out, Alice sings conflating lyrics about not knowing who she is and knowing that she's part of Wonderland now. And as we see her catch the Cheshire cat, crush the caterpillar, and tear the flowers with faces apart, with a flashback to her attacking the rabbit before showing her influence spreading throughout London, we can only speculate as to what's really happening. Maybe she attacked her parents. Maybe them turning into chess pieces is meant to show that Alice is going to control and manipulate them so they don't get in her way. Maybe I'm wrong and this song is indeed about Alice slipping into an actual magic land and bringing that magic back to the real world with her. Either way, we can be sure of two things. She's gonna be bringing her own brand of logic to the real world, regardless of the consequences. And she only paints in red now. Thank you to my patrons, A and Skyman. Tell me your thoughts down below, and while you're at it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Thank you, and good day.